Welcome to my video on division of complex numbers. In this video I'm going to look at a method that we use to divide two complex numbers. The quotient of two complex numbers is obtained by expressing the quotient as a fraction and then multiplying both terms of the fraction by the conjugate of the denominator. Okay, so here's your two numbers that you want to divide. A plus bi divided by c plus di, where I is the root of 1, square root of 1. Now, per the rule, what it tells us is, here's the fraction again that we want to determine the ratio, the quotient, and we multiply by the complex conjugate of the denominator. So the complex conjugate of c plus di is just c minus di. We've got a video on the complex conjugate. So that's the rule that we're going to use. Now let's just continue working this out. So I'm just going to do this multiplication right here. So on the numerator, now the denominator is easy because we know that the number, a complex number times its conjugate equals the c squared plus d squared. It's just the sum of the squares of the coefficients in front of each of the real and imaginary terms. So we know that. We don't need to do the FOIL method on that. The top one's a little more involved. So we got first, we're going to use FOIL. We're going to use first, outer, inner, last. So the first is AC, and then the outer, which would be these two right here. So that is minus ADI, and then that's outer, and then inner is plus BCI, and then last, which would be these two right here, is going to be plus BD, and it's actually going to be a minus, and then I squared. Yeah, so first is going to be the AC term, outer is the ADI, I'm just checking my stuff as I go, inner is this term right here, and then the last is BD minus I squared. Okay, now what we can do is we know that I squared is just equal to minus 1, so we can rewrite this as AC minus ADI plus BCI, and then this is going to be plus BD over C squared plus D squared. And I'm going to continue this on the next page, and we're going to regroup everything. All right, continuing on, we're going to get combining terms A plus BD plus BC minus AD times I divided by C squared plus D squared. Now we want to put this in the standard form. So that is going to be equal to, we're going to regroup everything. So it's just going to be this A squared plus BD over C squared plus D squared plus BC minus AD quantity times I over C squared plus D squared. So there's going to be our standard form for the division of two complex numbers. So let's do an example. Make this a little clearer, hopefully. So we start out with 6 minus 3i divided by 2 plus I. The rule tells us we multiply by the complex conjugate of the denominator. So that is going to be 2 minus I and 2 minus I. Now we know from previous work the complex conjugate, when we take z times z conjugate, is just the sum of the real and imaginary parts squared and then added together. So we know the denominator is going to be 2 squared plus 1 squared because 1 is in front of the I. Now let's do the FOIL method on the numerator here. So we've got 6 times 2. Now that's first, and now we do outer. That's minus 6i. So that was the outer. Now we do the inner. minus 6i, and then we do the last, which is going to be minus 3i times minus I, so that's going to be a plus 3i squared. So let's just continue doing the math here and see what we get. So looking at this term here, since that's just I squared is minus 1, that becomes a minus 3. So we've got 12 minus 3, those are the real terms. Now we've got 6i and 6i minus, so we've got minus 12i. And then in the denominator here, we've got 2 squared is 4 plus 1, so that's 5. So continuing, just follow this through. 12 minus 3 is 9. And then the 12i, we really can't do anything with that. And then divided by 5. So if we put that in standard form, it's 9 divided by 5 minus 12 over 5 times I. So that's going to be our answer in standard form of this division. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about division of two complex numbers in this video. If you did, give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you for watching.